Hello, my name is Liam MacKichan and I'm honored to have received the 5T3 Engineering Award. I'd like to thank the class of 5T3 for their extreme generosity in setting up this award.
Hi, I'm Elmoznino and I'm the proud recipient of the class of 5T6 award. Thank you so much for everyone from the class of 5T6 and the organizers. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ernesto Díaz Lozano, Patiño, and I'm honored to be the recipient of the 3T5 Second Mile Award.
Now that, if I may have your attention again, please. Again, I do wish we had the school bell. My name is Laurie Hevela. I'm co-chair of the Lunch and Learn, which this month, of course, is our 12th annual Engineering Awards Luncheon. We are in a rather cozy room, which is nice for the size of group that we have, given that when pre-registration started, we started with 11 people attending. I think we're at 31 or 32, which is a great turnout. I have a rather long list of people to be introduced. The first item of business, if you will, are announcements. I have none. Does anybody else on the floor have any announcements that they care to make? The winners and the guests of the various award recipients, beginning with the oldest year, the 3T5 Second Mile Award winner. The winner is Ernesto Díaz Lozano Patiño, and I would ask him to stand, please. And his guest, Tatiana Emanuel, as well. I am not aware of any previous recipients of this award, but if there are any in the room, please feel free to stand up. Running from the class of which year?
5T1.
5T1. 5T3, obviously, yes. The members of the award selection committee, and they will be presenting the award later on, are Bob Perry, Bob Ross, Nikki Aguier, who is not here, but whose grandfather, Paul Gresco, was a member of the class of 3T5. Raymond Kwong, who's chair of the Faculty Scholarships and Awards Committee, and the other member of this selection committee is Inez Lucia Fernandez Valdivieso, who's a 2010 recipient. Did I get that right, Pierre?
Well, we got it right, but you had it for the wrong year. Close enough. That's close enough.
Going according to my marching orders. Sorry. Next, let's see if I can get this right. The class of 5T3 Engineering Award. I know they're all here. The recipient, of course, is Liam MacKichan. And I would ask Liam to stand. And his fans are Ian MacKichan, Britain. You can stand up, Ian. Don't be bad. Brittany MacKichan, and Liam's father, Liam Popel. Okay, are there any other previous recipients of the 5T3 award in the room? Hearing none, the members of the selection committee are Barry Blanchard, who is not here, Bill Kirkpatrick, who will be presenting the award, Dick Pearsall, Margaret, Dick's over here, being very modest, Margaret Bowden, Don Dowds, who is in sunny Florida, and Brenda McCaig, who's the acting dean and also is a member of the Faculty Scholarship and Awards Committee as well. Lastly, the 5T6 Award of Merit. First off, again, the same question. Are there any other recipients of this award in the room? Hearing none. Moving on to the 5T6 Award of Merit. We know the winner is Eric Elmoznino. who's been very bold. He's come alone to receive his award. Again, are there any other recipients of this award from previous years? None in the room. We have a very long list of the Class of 5T6 executive: Paul Walters, Ross Lawrence, Stan Stike, who will be presenting the award, Vic Prendergast, Orlando Martini, Bill Wallace, Bill Pollock, and Don Hewson. So I think Stan is one of the few members of the committee that is actually here. Those
Vic
are
is here as well.
Sorry?
Vic is here as well.
Sorry.
I think I'm here.
But Vic did not stand up and wave his hands.
How did it stand?
Well, I mean, Stan's going to have his moment in a few minutes. Lastly, obviously, an occasion like this could not happen without a lot of support from the faculty, beginning first with Pierina Filipponi, who's the Assistant Registrar of Engineering Scholarships and Awards. Stand up, Pierina, so we can see you. Everybody knows Sonia DeBulo, who's the Director of Alumni Relations. She's not a very outgoing person, so she hesitates to stand up. The new kid on the block, if I might say, is Steve Radburn.
I'm looking around and where is he?
And where's he gone?
At work somewhere. New kid gets put to work.
Here comes Steve.
He wants to make
And then Tom Bospers, who everybody in the room knows, and perhaps not everybody knows Kristen Philpott. Stand up. Now, there are other awards that have been given. They're not being given on this occasion. The Class of 4T3 Engineering James Ham Award. Art Kennedy, I don't know whether Art is here, I don't believe that he is. The Class of 5T0 Engineering Leadership Award, Chris Hind was hoping to be here. I know Don King is here. Don
and Robert. I'm representing that class.
Okay, so we have Don and Robert McQuillan. Class of 5T1 Bursary, Lang Moffat. And Lang has already introduced himself. Believe it or not, we are ahead of schedule. Which is good because lunch is arriving at 1 o'clock. So the first of the 3 awards to be presented today is the 5T6 Award of Merit. We had planned to have it presented before lunch. Yes, it's going to be presented before lunch. And at this point, I'd like to call upon Stan Stike to do something.
Okay, as usual, our class president, I think, is sipping wine on the beaches of Madeira or something. So you're
They get
getting
exotic.
yeah, so you're getting a stand-in today. And in fact, I was thinking the other day, why the hell am I not somewhere sunny? I used to work on Madison Avenue, New York City, and I thought I should have skipped lunch with Bernie Madoff. That's what did me in. Anyway.
Well, they brought the sun here for you this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I used to live in California too. My 2 sons live in California. In fact, I'll tell you a little anecdote. When I moved back to Canada, my son, who was 18 at the time, stayed in California. And I said, Douglas, how come you're not moving with us? You're breaking up the family. And he said, Dad, you're the one that's moving. Anyway, the 5T6 Award of Merit, we like to call this an award to the leaders of tomorrow. And I'm talking about leadership in extracurricular activities. And that means either in the university or the community at large, plus excellence in academic standing. And of course, this year, he's already been introduced, Eric Elmoznino. I kept calling Elmoznino, and he actually informed me that it used to be Spanish probably, but it's now pronounced Elmoznino. So we're talking about academic excellence. How about a 4.00 GPA, which is not too shabby. Governor General's Academic Award Medal, McGill Science Award. I was thinking if we asked him to bring all his awards, he'd need a backpack to bring his awards with him. Extracurricular, I was thinking in high school, raising money for freshwater sources for a community in Tanzania. He went on, and this really blew my mind. He was a municipal inspector enforcing bylaws for Pierce Point. If you can imagine going around and telling people, no, you can't have that in your front yard, sort of thing. And then he went on, and he was a Canadian Forces reservist in the Canadian Forces Reserve. Then here at the university, he is he's involved as a subsystem team leader with the University of Toronto Aerospace team, competing in the Canadian Satellite Design Challenge. And of course, along the way, doing all this, he manages to be class president too. So, but I think what impressed me more than anything else when I read through all these is the focus on team leadership. And maybe it caught my eye because when I was back in the day, when I would promote someone as a new manager, my first advice always to them was, when I promoted them, and they're thinking, great job, great, I got the promotion, was never forget, for success, you need your people a lot more than they need you. And Eric never forgot that. So Eric, please come forward. Eric, come with us. Do you need something? Well, you hold the award. Why am I holding the award?
Yeah, you do. You're good. Yeah, you're great. I'm going to take photos later, too. It's videoing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So hello everyone, I'll try and keep it short. This is actually my second lunch with the class of 5T6. I had one last semester. And for the first one, I'm going to have to be quite honest. I was extremely nervous. They had done so much for me, really shown me so much generosity without really knowing who I was beyond what they read on paper. And I thought to myself, what if they didn't like me? What if they didn't think that I deserved it once they met me? But really, as the lunch went on, that nervousness was quickly replaced by just enjoying the company, because these are truly amazing people. We got to know each other, we spoke about U of T then and now, we laughed, and I just really soaked up the moment. One thing that really marked me was that they said, the main purpose of the scholarship is not necessarily the money, but really the opportunity to fan the fire in a student. The class of 5T6 believed in me and thought that I had the potential to do great things. And that confidence that I got from having that recognition is going to stay with me for life. And it will continue to drive me throughout. So I do hope to prove the class of 5T6 right and achieve great things. But really more importantly, I hope to support my community much in the same fashion one day and place my belief in the next generation of young engineers. Thank you so much.
Where are the acetone slides in the overhead projector?
No, it was an ink quill.
Smoke signal.
Well, first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about the award. Back in 1949, there were a group of people thrown together in first year engineering. Some of these people knew others from high school, but by and large, they were all a bunch of strangers. And we went through 4 years of learning our trade and doing a lot of other things at the same time. And in that 4 years, we became a lot of friendships were made. A lot of hard work was put into it. A lot of hard play went into it too, I must admit. But we had a great time, and those friendships have endured for an awful long time. Stan was mentioning about the president not being here of his class. Well, I'll tell you a little bit of a story. In fourth year, we had the annual elections, and the fourth year had to elect a president for the alumni class. And so we elected a fellow by the name of Larry Hunt. Now, shortly after that, we all graduated. Larry went off, worked for Imperial Oil, and has never been seen since. But fortunately, Don Dowds became our president and has been the president for years and years of our class and has kept us going. We have had 5-year reunions pretty faithfully ever since we graduated. And when we get together, we always have a great time. People who only see each other go once every 5 years can still connect very quickly and enjoy each other's company. But we got to our 50th anniversary, and we decided that it was about time we should do something a little different. And so we decided that we would see if we could raise enough money to award a scholarship to a student who would exhibit some of the characteristics that we have had and enjoyed during our period of school, as also giving back to the school that was responsible for a lot of successful careers. So we come up with this, the idea of this scholarship, and it was very enthusiastically received. And we started out with an objective of 200,000, which we thought we'd never make 200,000. However, the fund now is up well over 500,000, and it is enough now that we can guarantee that it will be going on forever, and it's a worthwhile prize to that successful candidate. But the candidate this year, as you already know, is Liam MacKichan. Liam has had quite a career. He's a very good student. He's not up to the 4 in his marks rating. He only made 3.95. But Liam has been involved in a lot of extracurricular work. He was on the concrete canoe team. Now, remember last month we learned about the concrete canoe team. Liam has done a lot of the structural analysis for the concrete canoe. He's also been interested in outside activities. He's been quite involved in church camp, Bible camp that going on every summer, and I guess is still involved in helping out with this camp. So that his interests are not only within the university, but within the community at large. And we felt that he was a very worthwhile representative of the ideals and the what's the word I'm trying to get? The ideals of the class of 5T3. And so I'd like to present Liam, if you'd come up, please. Present the award to you, and congratulations.
I too, despite having a smartphone, am a big advocate of the paper.
Thanks for using the old-fashioned way.
My pleasure. I would just like to start by thanking the class of 5T3 for the extreme generosity in this award. I know this award has drastically changed my undergraduate experience and has motivated me to someday give back to the same community that has given me so many opportunities. In the time I have here today, I'd just like to share a little bit about myself, some of the things I've done, and some of the things I'm hoping to do. I was raised nearly my entire life in Aurora, Ontario, just outside of Toronto. My parents instilled in my two older sisters and I the values of integrity, honesty, and the importance of family. Growing up, I was an extremely nervous child who really struggled with anxiety. I always found something to worry about, whatever it may be. However, this forced me from a very young age to develop disciplined time management skills that continue to serve me well to this day. All through my childhood, I was, and if I'm being honest, continue to be to this day, intrigued by Lego. This toy gave me the ability to create and change shapes and forms, but more importantly, break the structures I made. From an early age, I was interested in breaking apart these structures and seeing how I could make them stronger. Since I've moved away from school, however, I'm sure my parents don't miss hurting their feet, stepping on all the scattered pieces of Lego around the house. But this passion for building, although has matured to this day, drives me to pursue design in structural engineering. In addition to Lego, I played rep hockey ever since I can remember. Through many very, very early morning practices with my father, I learned what teamwork and hard work meant and looked like. I still have the pleasure to this day of continuing to play hockey on the School C hockey team at U of T, and I'm loving every moment of it. I've been fortunate enough to be involved with some very interesting design teams, as Bill had alluded to, on both the concrete canoe team and the seismic design team, which is a team I've started this year with a peer of mine, consisting of graduate and graduate students dedicated to promoting the advancement and awareness of earthquake engineering. As a part of this chapter, I'm co-leading undergraduate design team, and we've been invited this year to participate in the competition in San Francisco in April. And so with our flights booked for that, the team is quite excited to be heading out to San Francisco at the beginning of April. In addition to design teams, U of T has provided me with some awesome research opportunities. I had the pleasure in my first year working in the structural testing facility under some wonderful professors and getting some introduction to the field there. And this past summer, actually, I had the amazing opportunity of traveling to Australia for 16 weeks to participate in a research exchange at the University of Queensland. I was involved in a research project studying the feasibility of tall timber structures, primarily with respect to structural safety and fire safety. And this opportunity opened my eyes to a very different side of structural engineering, to which my academics had yet to expose me to. And the interesting thing I found about this project is the fact that despite being structurally sound and safe with respect to fire, the public perception of living in what people would deem a matchbox is kind of hindering the progress of this. And so I'm excited to see from my academics there how tall timber buildings progress in Canada and globally in the face of the pervasive concrete and steel buildings in North America. But however, as stimulating as this research was, the academics were only one part of the awesome time I had there. I made some great friends that I got to journey with there that I'm still in contact with to this day, and I look forward to catching up with them in person someday soon. And undoubtedly one of the most memorable parts of my trip was the weekend, plus a few days, that I got to have in Sydney and attending a Hillsong conference. I got to see the Sydney Harbour Bridge and the Opera House, and I got to attend multiple talks on human trafficking in this week-long conference, but I caught it in the second half of the week, which is an issue and problem I dearly hope to fight against in my life. I have a real heart for those less fortunate, and this trip provided me with the opportunity to hear from some international organizations involved in this endeavor. I'm excited at the prospect of being able to use my skills and technical knowledge in the future to improve the quality of life of these similar demographics. Receiving this award has given me the mobility and the confidence to pursue this. And in the future, I'm excited at pursuing graduate work possibly and joining the field as a structural designer. In the coming year, I'm excited to pursue both my PUI opportunity and summer internship in the field of structural engineering. I'm also very excited to give back to the community that's given me so many opportunities, and I'd like to sincerely thank the class of 523 once again. Thank you.
Believe it or not, we are on schedule. It is 1:01 p.m. Lunch should arrive momentarily. Is it there?
No.
I don't think I need to encourage this audience to continue to chat amongst yourselves. I have trouble stopping you from doing that. So we will reconvene after lunch. We're well ahead of schedule. We have one more award to be done, but that'll be done after lunch, and Sabatino is going to arrange that. And a young guy like Eric who shows up with his smartphone, places it down here, and there's his speech, and a guy from the class of 65, 50 years ago, who still does it the old-fashioned way. I do have a computer. Actually, I have two computers, a cell phone, but not a smartphone. Now, we have a decision to make, and I will make the executive decision since we schedule lunch for 1 o'clock, and it is 11 minutes to 1. The next award on the agenda is the presentation of 5T3 Engineering Award. And if Bill Kirkpatrick is ready, why don't we do it? Attention. If we may have Sonia's attention. I know Sonia doesn't mind if I do that, but invariably she is one of the last people that I can manage to get to stop talking. So we can present.
Your report card used to say the same thing all the time. Were you my teacher?
No. Excuse me, what do you mean? Was I your teacher? I'll speak to you later. Okay, we're getting down to the wire. The last of the three awards to be presented today is the 3T5 Second Mile Award. And at this point, I will call upon Bob Perry to present that award.
Thanks, Lori. It's my pleasure to present the Second Mile Award today. I think it's almost 10 years now that I've been at this particular chart. Thank you very much, Bob Ross, for inviting me to join. I'm a member of the awards committee because my father was a member of the class of 3T5, along with Bob's father. And for those of you here that don't know about the Second Mile Award, it's an award that's been going since 1945. It was set up by the class of 3T5. Everybody in that class were great friends. They bonded during the 30s when it was tough to find a job. And they were all very community-minded folks who took great pride in serving their community. So what they wanted to do was make sure that they properly recognized a student at the University of Toronto in the 4th year of engineering who exemplified the qualities of not only great academics but also great community service. This year we're fortunate to be able to recognize Ernesto for the great work that he has done. When we evaluate the submissions, we look at marks, we look at extracurriculars, and we also look at an essay that they write, which sort of links up their sense as to what the Second Mile Award means to them. Ernesto was great in all of the areas that we evaluated. Marks-wise, I think his average over 4 years was probably
higher than the highest mark that I attained in any subject over any of the years that I attended U of T. So I'm kind of almost embarrassed to be able to sit at the same table with him. He managed to accomplish all these great marks, while at the same time doing a lot in the way of extracurricular activities as well. And probably one of the most noteworthy activities is this past year he's served and serving as the president of the Engineering Society. Ernesto also, I mean, he's probably a great engineer because he has quite a family tradition. He was telling me a little earlier tonight that he's a fourth generation engineer. His great-grandfather was an engineer in Mexico and apparently did a lot of work with laying railway tracks and so on across Mexico during the years that they had the Mexican Revolution, when there were 7 different insurgency groups. So in addition to a slide rule and a transit, his most important engineering tool was a pistol, which he kept close at hand. I'm sure Ernesto probably hasn't as much excitement in his engineering life as his great-grandfather, but he certainly earned this award. And Ernesto, I'd like to bring you forward and present you with your second. We're going to get a picture taken.
I'll take the photos later. I'm doing a video now.
Okay, it's video.
Thank you very much.
Turn around.
Oh!
Come on.
You want to come in then?
Yeah. We'll have a word
Thank
later.
I went more analog.
Is it pencil or is it ink?
Ink. You know, I heard once a story that NASA spent millions of dollars developing a pen that could work in space with zero gravity. And someone was like, oh, you know what the Russians did? They just took a pencil. Yeah. First of all, thank you very, very much to the class of 3T5, which I don't believe we have anyone here, and also to the selection committee, Bob Ross, Bob Perry, and all the other members. This award means a lot to me as an international student. The support is very significant, so it means a lot to me. And I also want to say thank you to my girlfriend Tatiana, who's here, and my family, who's not here. In particular, my parents and my sister, who, without them, I would not be here definitely. So I want to acknowledge that. So as you've heard, I'm an international student from Mexico City, born and raised. Came here to Canada, and I want to talk a little bit about the topic of the award. What is going the second mile? I've been putting a lot of thought, and I think there's 2 elements that I consider going the second mile. First of all, it's going beyond and above your duty. And secondly, is recognizing the power that you have to make this a better world. So how does this relate to me? I try to find a lot of inspiration in people I meet. And there's a lot of people that I consider mentors, great teachers, professors, family members. And I want to highlight one that will always be very personal to me, and it's my grandpa. He was the only non-engineer in this story. He decided to go into medicine because he didn't like math, and that's what he will always say. But when he was a doctor in the 60s and 70s, I believe, he spent a good amount of his time traveling through Mexico fighting poliomyelitis. And I can just imagine the impact that he had in so many people's lives with such a horrible disease. So that's a story I will always remember, and every time I think of my family heritage, I'm very proud of knowing that I come from that great man. And I've tried to live up to it, so I've tried to, in my own life, identify how I can go the second mile. And I think the first turning point that I had in realizing how important it was to go the second mile was when I was a high school kid in Mexico. I started volunteering with an organization called A Roof for My Country, in Spanish, Un Techo para Mi País. And what they do is they build houses for people in extreme poverty. So I started to go to some of the nastiest slums in the city, in other areas of the country, where we would have families of 5 or 6 people living under a cardboard roof, earning $5-6 a day for the entire family. And I was amazed. I'm like, how can this happen an hour drive away where we have the richest or second richest man on earth? What is going on? And when I saw that contrast, I realized, well, you know what, we can make a big difference. Because every time I went there, I built a house, I would see a little bit of hope in these people's life. And I would see maybe this difference will actually help someone. So other elements, events happened in my life, and I chose to go study abroad. And kind of my motto of going abroad, in addition to having a great friend here in Canada that kind of pushed me to come, was I had this idea in my mind that I got from a movie that I really like called Motorcycle Diaries. And the idea was, let the world change you, and then you can change the world. And I figured if I can go to Canada and go on my own, challenge myself, maybe the world will change me, and maybe someday I will be able to change the world. So I came, and I had a rather rough first year, not because of the professors, they were great. I actually had an accident in my first year playing soccer in the first week of classes after Fresh Week, and I broke my jaw. So for the first 7 weeks of classes, I couldn't eat. It's a pretty nasty situation, and so I didn't start on the right feet. But things came to place, and eventually I found my place at U of T. And in the last 2 or so years, I've tried to push myself out again and try to go the second mile. So one of the first things we did, with a couple of friends, we started a chapter of the Canadian Electrical Contractor Association. And the reason I started this chapter is because it was an opportunity for me to work in an area that I'm very passionate about, which is green building design, participating in a competition called the Green Energy Challenge, in which you take a building, make it more energy efficient. And also, they have another competition called the Student Passport Initiative, in which you can put a project in the developing world and you can get up to $20,000 to go build it. I didn't get a chance to do that in the first year I was involved in the chapter, but this year, which I wasn't very involved in because of the engineering society, some of the friends that started with me in the chapter are right now in Honduras building a solar PV installation because they partnered with Penn State. So there's that opportunity for me to go back and then maybe do a project in Mexico in the coming years. And the engineering society, the reason I decided to get involved is to give back to the school community, but mostly to find ways to empowering other students to pursue the dream. EngSci provides up to $60,000 of student co-funding and many other opportunities. Because for me, this is an exciting and an amazing opportunity to really give every student a chance to find their passion and build the foundations of what's going to be their dreams. And then in addition to that, it also provides an opportunity to work to shape the future of engineering. We're having a wonderful conversation at our table about engineering education, and I keep telling the people involved in EngSci, I think that our role in academic advocacy is not going and complaining about what we don't like. It's about sitting at the table and shaping the future of our profession. And that leads me to the future. Personally, I want to pursue a career in building science. I think buildings are a great avenue where we can make lots of strides to tackle the big problem of climate change. But the overall picture is, what is the role of engineers in the future? The world is definitely going through a lot of difficult times, economically, socioeconomically, and weather-wise, as we saw this winter. And I am sure, I'm positive that engineers are going to be instrumental in how we're going to tackle these problems. But at the heart of this is good quality of engineering education. And that's why I find it so valuable to empower students and say, you know what, you should sit at the table, write the future, and define the future of our profession, because engineers need to become leaders to really tackle these problems. So that's what I think about the second mile. Thank you very much.
Can't believe he spoke so passionately with handwritten notes without a smartphone, any sort of modern technology. I must say, just to begin to wrap up, congratulations again to Ernesto, Liam, and to Eric. Obviously, they are passionate about what they are doing, what they want to continue to do, and a theme that I heard in all of their closing remarks was they want to give back. They want to pay back for the opportunities that have been given to them. Obviously, for each of these 3 awards, there was more than one candidate. It became difficult for the selection committees. Thank God I'm not on the selection committee to have to choose, but obviously the candidates that were presented to them were a source of inspiration. I think it should be a source of inspiration to many of us here in this room that also choose to give back to the university as well. Obviously, the faculty, the professors, and so on the faculty have a lot to be proud of and have made a significant contribution in the education of the three recipients of the awards today. Events such as this, the Lunch and Learn events, wouldn't be possible without the support of people in the alumni office, people such as Sonia, Steve, who is new to the group, Kristen, Tom Vosper, Pierina as well. And obviously, we enjoy and appreciate having the turnout at a recognition event such as this. We do this once a year, March of every year. So it's always a pleasure to have so many people. Given that at one point we looked as though we'd have 11, now we're up to 31 or 32, which was a surprisingly good turnout as well. Lastly, as far as future meetings, our next meeting is on the second Wednesday of April, which is the 13th. We will have Professor Tobin Philiter speaking about graphene, the super material that could launch a revolution. I believe that idea came to us from Chris Hind, who read an article in McLean's...
John Rogers.
John Rogers, sorry, who read an article in McLean's magazine, and we reached out to Professor Philiter, and he has agreed to speak on that subject. In May is the last of our presentations, Wednesday, May 11th. Again, Professor Milos Popovic, who's going to be talking about neuroplasticity, overcoming paralysis using electrical stimulation. He's obviously both involved in the medical aspects as well as the engineering aspects of dealing with this problem. As far as next year, believe it or not, we're well underway as far as beginning to organize presentations. I've already reached out to one of the professors that Jim Courtney actually put us in touch with. And I had recently reached out to Professor Ted Sargent, who had spoken at Biz School. Unfortunately, he turned us down, but better yet, he gave us 3 suggestions for possible speakers for next year. So I'm about to contact them. And I have a speaker from last year, and I think it was Chris Hind that put us in touch with him. Nothing to do with engineering. He couldn't speak last year, but he said, reach out to me again, and I'd be happy to speak next year. So already we have 4 or 5 potential speakers for next year. Of course, we have the awards luncheon in March, so that happens automatically. So, we hopefully will see you in April 13th, for our second last Lunch and Learn. Please feel free to linger, to chat with the students, to chat with the members of the awards committees as well. We're in no hurry to vacate the room, and I believe that there are going to be photographs taken of the awards recipients and perhaps their families as well. So please stand around. Thank you.